So how cool is it to be part of the Big 12 Offensive Line of the Week, and you're the featured dude in the graphic?
Yeah, I'm front and center, so of course they use that photo, but it's cool. Never really heard of that award. I don't know if that's new to this year. Zach had texted me yesterday informing us, and me that we were going to win that this week, so that's cool. I think we protected the first 2 weeks really well. Obviously run game slowed down a little bit. Had a couple misassignments that we need to clean up this week, but I think if we get both aspects of our offense together, run or pass blocking doesn't matter, we can be really effective.
This is a two-parter. When you go and watch film of the game, are you mainly watching yourself or as a leader, or are you also watching everyone else to kind of see what they're doing?
Watching everybody else. I usually watch it about 4 times before we break it down with the coaches. So the first time I usually watch the TV version just to hear the commentary and all that, and then I usually watch it on film that night too, kind of watching everybody. And then usually watch it, just trying to hone in on my exact, details of what I could do better on each individual play. But definitely watch everybody. Yeah.
And given that, how did you think Cyrus was being played for the time they got on the field?
I think they came in and gave some really good reps. We have to execute at a high level, and if we make a mistake, and those guys have proved themselves to be able to play. We got to give them an opportunity to play. I think we wanted to get them in the game regardless, but if a mistake's made, their opportunity should be there for them to get some reps.
Gavin, you came when Luke Fickle was here, and he would always say that this program wants to be driven through the offensive and defensive lines. Where does this offensive line this season rank amongst the ones you played with throughout your time here?
I think as the season progresses, I think it could be the best. I truly believe that. I think we got a great group of guys in that room, top to bottom, freshmen included. Guys that are really talented, that love the game, love playing for one another. I think it could be the best one. Obviously, I won't put that mark on it right now. We got to go out and prove it every day and every week, but that's our goal for sure.
Gavin, throughout the first 2 weeks, the offense started to click over Bowling Green and the passing. What do you guys have to do to get that run game going for Northwestern State this weekend?
Yeah, I think we just got to hone in on the details of understanding the down and distance and how the backers are going to play. I think that's a big emphasis for us this week. I think that was a couple of our mistakes, was understanding the situation, really understanding the backers were going to flow a little bit different. They had two really good linebackers that made a lot of plays and shut the gaps quickly, and we got to realize that quicker. I think once we did realize it, we had 2 really good runs to come out of the second half, and then we ended up fumbling it. But just realizing those details sooner and right as the game starts.
As one of the leaders on that team and on the offensive line as well, how important is it that you guys don't overlook the team on Saturday?
Very important, very important. I've been a part of a lot of games where it's versus an FCS opponent or a smaller school opponent, and if you do that, this is, and people say it's their Super Bowl. They just played Minnesota, and they're hungry for a win. I know they got their first one the first week of the season, I think like 3 years or something like that. You can't overlook a team like that, and I'll make sure that the whole team knows that. We have a great opportunity this week to hopefully go out there and execute at a high level. Get some young guys in the game if that's the case. But just whatever we can do to help the team win.
Coach Cyrus said a lot of people have had taste in their mouths after Saturday. Is that kind of how you felt? Was there a general sense of disappointment not being able to kind of stretch the lead?
Yeah, because you could feel when we came in the locker room. Obviously, everybody was happy and weight lifted off their shoulders that we got to win, and that we executed to some extent. And the pass game looked really good, protection looked really good, but we knew that it wasn't as energetic as it usually is with a win, and that makes me happy to know that there's room for growth. Guys know that we can be better than that, we can execute better than that. So yeah, for sure.
Scott and Austin.
You can't overlook them, but this is a game you should win decisively. Any message to the students that might want to take off at halftime?
I ask them not to. I think we're going to need them. I think you're going to see a lot of, hopefully a lot of, new faces out there. If we go out and execute at a high level, So, you know, if you wanna see somebody play that maybe hasn't played, you should stick around for the whole game.
You guys haven't given up a sack in the first 2 weeks. How important is that moving forward as you get closer to Big 12 play?
I think really important. If we can keep Brendan clean, he'll make us look good, we'll make him look good. We'll protect as long as we can for him. You know, I think he has a very quick release that makes us look, you know, good in a lot of ways, and honestly, it's helped us. I mean, I know we've gave up a couple pressures. I think I've gave up one in the first 2 games that, you know, luckily he got rid of the ball. You know, if he wouldn't have, you know, if he would have tried to, if there wasn't somebody open right away for him to get the ball to, you know, it could have ended up being a sack. So I'm very thankful for him, but continue to hone in on the small details, make sure we, you know, get our hands in the right spots. That'll give us a great advantage.
Gavin, Cyrus told us after the game on Saturday that Brendan ended last week with a big chip on his shoulder to really get this offense moving heading into week 2. As the center and captain of this offense, did you guys see that within Brendan? How did he handle that pressure from week 1 to week 2?
Yeah, he's the same guy every day, which is a great thing. Always encouraging everybody, always leading the offense. But you could definitely tell that he was, you know, dialed in to make sure that they get the passing game going. You know, pulling the wide receivers, you know, across from him and pulling them across to him and making sure they're on the same page. Make sure that, you know, the routes are run the right way. When he's going to get the ball out to him, who's the first read, who's the second read, what all that is. But you can tell a little bit different, yeah.
Cool. Any questions for Gavin? Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Let's go.
3-time